because of the benefits that we discussed so far. So coming to the next part of the session is on Agile methods and approaches. We will first discuss on Scrum methodology a little bit. What is the essence of Scrum and what are the key advantages of Scrum and what are the things that you need to take care while adopting the Scrum. If you look at the Scrum team always move as one unit. If you look at these pictures on the left hand side, so they're all sequential progress and the roles are not clearly mentioned here. The accountability and ownership issues are there when the roles are not clearly defined. Okay, and whereas here, since entire team move as one unit, the accountability is entire team is accountable and ownership entire ownership lies with the entire team. It's not that one person is away from the team's way of working. So everybody move as one unit. The essence of Scrum is whatever activities in Scrum, they are all planned in a time box, and whatever features or requirements that needs to be adhered, that will be delivered at the end. Based on the acceptance to the customer, they will be delivered at the end of the time box. So whatever the Scrum team is going to do, they will put their activities in the time box. Normally this time box will vary from 1 to 4 weeks. So that means they will not go more than 4 weeks. There won't be any working software that gets extended beyond 4 weeks. If at all they have to deliver something working within this time box between 1 to 4 weeks. Okay, so in order to do that, the Scrum team first they commit what they want to deliver at the end of the time box, and once they commit, they start working in the time box, and in the end they deliver the working software which will be inspected by the customer, and the feedback whatever the customer gives is taken and adapted in the subsequent time box. One important thing is the team will not get impacted from the changes what customer gives. So how means if any change comes when the team is working in the time box, those changes will be taken only those changes will not be entertained and they will be only incorporated in the subsequent time box. So that way whatever team has committed, they will not get disturbed from their commitment, and if any change customer wants to give, we will not say that you please don't give the changes. Of course you can give the changes, but we will incorporate only in the subsequent time boxes. So that's the essence of Scrum, and any learnings in each time box is taken as a learnings and adapted in the subsequent time boxes. So normally the Scrum team will be 7 members, -2 and +2, and as I said, the duration of the iteration will be 1 to 4 weeks. At the end of the iteration, they will deliver something working software. Okay, so it has which is shippable, and all the requirements comes from the person called product owner, who takes the inputs from various stakeholders and comes out with prioritized list of requirements, which is called as product backlog, and these requirements will be in the form of user stories. The user stories are a smaller requirements, and they won't be a bigger requirements like use cases. There will be smaller functionalities or smaller work which adds value to the customer when they are delivered. So, and all the requirements are split in the form of user stories, and the product backlog is prioritized from the top user story to the last user story, and by default the team has to deliver the first user story in the first iteration. In Scrum we call it as sprint. Okay, and the team selects how much they can do in this from the product backlog, how many user stories they can take. based on their velocity, and they comes out with the tasks that are needed to implement that user story, like designing requirements and gathering, designing, coding, testing, unit testing, regression testing, things like that. They identify the task, allocate the responsibilities, and identify how much time each task in terms of hours would take, and they'll have a sprint plan ready. They'll do a iteration sprint planning in the beginning of the sprint, and once the sprint plan is ready, they start working, and at the end of the sprint they'll deliver working software, which will be reviewed by the product owner and his team, and product owner will review whether the team is adhering to his expectations, and if it is not, then the inputs are given to the team, which will be which will be implemented in the subsequent sprints. And every day there will be 15 minutes daily stand-up meetings where every team member in Scrum they present and discuss 3 things. Each team member has to report just 3 things rather than discussing everything. He has to just report what he did from yesterday to today, and second, what is he going to do from today to tomorrow. The third, is there anything blocking for today to tomorrow to accomplish his work. So these 3 things has to be reported by each and every team member in the daily stand-up meeting, which helps team to take the stock of the situation and to know any impediments for that days of work, for that day. And entire Scrum is development in Scrum is moderated and facilitated by a person called Scrum Master. So this is about Scrum. So what are the benefits of Scrum? Advantage of Scrum is because we deliver something working software at the end of the sprint, we are delivering to the product owner what are the functions that have got value to the customer. Then focus is more on team communications, okay, rather than following one person following a heavy written document approach. So because team is communicating each other on daily basis, everybody is in sync with each other. So the focus on team communication is very, very high. Because the frequent demonstration is happening and early feedback from stakeholders is taken, so that if the particular feature is not adhering to certain expectation, that open issues can be taken in the subsequent sprint and corrected. The teamwork, the spirit of the team is high, and the team gets the sense of accomplishment because they commit what they want to deliver at the end of the sprint. So what are the things that one has to remember when the Scrum is being used in the software development is, please, one should not think that sprint is a mini waterfall. So what is mini waterfall? It's like doing all requirements, design, implementation, testing in a mini waterfall approach. That means again doing in a sequential phase. So sprint is not like that. You don't do again requirements, design, implementation, testing sequentially. Everything is done concurrently on daily basis. So that is one thing. And whatever that is given to the customer must have expected quality and should demonstrate value to the product owner. The next, as and when in each sprint the team is delivering user stories, there are chances of open issues getting piled up. So the technical debt has to be taken care, and the defect buildup, the technical debt should not get increased as you go to the subsequent sprints. So that care has to be taken care. Okay, and thinking how the user stories in smaller value, making the requirements in smaller portion is something sometimes it's challenging, and that is a little bit an experience that comes by practicing more and more Scrum. And every sprint should have requirement, design, development and testing activities. You are not supposed to split these activities across the sprints. Extreme programming. Extreme programming is another methodology used since quite some time back. Okay, so it is based on the principle that whatever you do, and if you find it is best, use it quite frequently. So that's why it is called extreme. So it's a collection of best practices, and here it focuses more on technical practices. Extreme programming was there even before the Scrum was being used, and it focuses more on engineering practices. So any development team, if they want to reap the benefits of both project management and engineering, both should be used in in a combined way, whereas extreme programming focuses more on technical practices and Scrum focuses more on project management best practices. So this is a recommended approach. So it has 12 practices suitable for small teams, experts, customers, negotiate all the requirement negotiation stories, for team and the teams are every year and DMs on operation. If you look at the practices or planning game, sustainable pace, the team has to go in sustainable pace. There has to be collective ownership, adherence to the coding standards, continuous integration has to happen. Okay, the design has to be driven using metaphor, and development has to be used using test-driven approach, and do what is the team feels simple rather than adopting everything in one shot. Keep on removing the duplicate codes using refactoring approach, so that your maintenance of the code becomes much easier, and do the programming in pair, and on-site customers, and do whatever you release, release it in smaller releases. So these are some 12 practices used in XP. I'll take up the questions in the Q&A sessions. So first I would suggest we will finish the presentation. So when do you choose the extreme programming? You choose the extreme programming when you have loosely defined and requirements are volatile. Requirements cannot be defined and they are very loosely defined. And next is when team wants to have strong engineering skills. Team feels the necessity of strong engineering skills. Then they want to improve. They can go and adopt. They start learning, use extreme programming and strengthen their engineering skills. When there is involvement of the customer on daily basis, extreme programming expects on-site customers. So that it expects customers' involvement on daily basis, and it is suitable for small teams. And small teams which are more flexible, and it is always easy to adapt to the smaller teams rather than a team which consists of 50 and 100 people. And extreme programming requires strong commitment from the top management, including customers. Certain things like pair programming, these practices require additional headcounts. So pair programming has to be done by additional person. So the management has to be committed to provide these additional resources. Apart from that, there are some extreme programming practices which has to be followed in a disciplined way. So the proper support from the executives, the top management, senior management has to be there for the development team. Coming to other methods which are used currently and becoming more and more popular. One is Kanban. This Kanban is actually come from the Toyota best practices, the best practices. It's basically what it means is it's a sort of a visual board. What it means is when work is in progress in the manufacturing floor, some of the inventory items gets will be waiting and they will get piled up. So more and more inventory items gets piled up on the shop floor. It is waste. So you should not have excess inventory. You should have just enough inventory what is necessary to build the particular product. Let's say build a car. Okay. And also the time spent in producing that excess inventory could be used somewhere else. So the Kanban, what it tells is it limits your work in progress. It tells you limit the items what is necessary and pull them as and when you need it. Don't keep everything in stock and use them. Only just in time delivery, just in time what is needed, you use it for your activities. What is the main advantage in software development? Why this Kanban is becoming popular in software development is there are some I don't say disadvantage, some amount of constraints, sometimes limitations in time-boxed iterations like extreme programming and Scrum methodologies. Because the short time-boxed iterations need to be short. You cannot have anything more than 4 weeks. Whatever you plan has to be within 1 and 4 weeks. And if particular feature or certain things has to be delivered beyond 4 weeks, either it has to be broken and split into smaller functionalities. Sometimes some feature could be such that it is so complex, the team may not be able to split it to fit inside the time box. So in that case, the time box cannot be extended and the feature will take more time. So making the smaller the feature in the time box iteration becomes difficult. It has some challenge. Okay, so thinking the development items to be small is one of the challenges in time boxed iterations. And what happens is in time boxed iteration, because the software has to be working and the working software has to be demonstrated at the end of the sprint. So there are chances testers race in the later stages of the development time and quality might get suffered. So the Kanban approach drops the time boxed iteration and it favors the focus on continuous flow. There will be a continuous flow. Till you finish the activity, you will not stop. You don't bother about a 1 week, 4 week iteration and split your feature. Whatever amount that feature, whatever time it takes, you go in that flow and you focus more on workflow rather than time box iterations. So to tell Kanban in nutshell, first of all you have to visualize the workflow. That means split your work into pieces. Write each item on a card. You have a Kanban cards. These are all Kanban cards. You write on each Kanban card what you are supposed to do. Whether the item is in analysis phase, the item is in development phase, item is in testing phase. You put those cards under different workflow state. And what the main thing you have to do is you have to limit these cards. These are the cards which are under work in progress. So you keep controlling the cards such that you deliver. Let us say you take a user story, the time taken for analysis, development, testing, deployment, and the moment it is done, the time you control the lead time by limiting limiting your work in progress. More number of things are waiting here and you are working on more ongoing items. Your completion of each of the story gets increased. So that way your lead time becomes longer. So what Kanban tells is you identify or limit your work in progress such that you pull only the items as and when they want, and you identify the work in progress items, the number of work in progress items, so that your lead time becomes shorter. So that is the main meaning, the essence of Kanban. So what normally you do in software development is you identify user stories like the way you identify in Scrum, and you write the goals of user story, how many, is there any non-functional requirements, and what is the feature and how many days this user story should get completed, and keep moving the user stories, how many user stories under analysis stage and how many user stories are there in development stage, or you can even have a tasks for each user story and keep moving them. And only thing is you have to limit your WIP such that your lead time becomes effective. So that limiting WIP comes by experience. So you don't wait and deliver something in the time box iteration. Till you finish the user story and till they reach the done stage, you will measure that lead time and then keep reducing the lead time between two successive user stories. So when do you apply Kanban in software? Scrum and XP have more rules to follow, whereas Kanban has less rules to follow. Whereas Scrum and XP has more prescriptive, Kanban is less prescriptive. Okay, but only thing you should not, it should not drive you that, you know, since Kanban is less rules, there are no specific too many process discipline has to be ensured. We can do whatever we can do. So that compilation is important than doing something with the time box. I should move out of Kanban. Example supporting where you have tickets. The tickets, when you resolve ticket, different criticality of the tickets, like L1, L2, L3. So depending on the criticality of the ticket, the time take to deliver ticket also changes. So you can have a fixed time for all the tickets. So you can you think of using Kanban in some environment that whatever time it takes to measure time and limit your work in progress and control.
Sorry for interrupting you. Your voice is breaking a lot.
Yeah, hello?
Hello?
Sorry?
Your voice is breaking a lot. So we are getting feedback from attendees also that they are not able to hear you properly.
Are you not able to hear? Is it breaking a lot?
Yeah, they are not able to hear you properly. Yeah, it's breaking a lot.
Hello?
Can you please check the mic?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hello? Yeah, it seems better now.
Yeah, can I proceed now?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, fine. So if you look at this picture, RUP, you can see how much it is prescriptive. There are some 120 rules to follow in RUP. So the same thing gets reduced in XP, Scrum, So progressively, in XP it is much lesser, Scrum is even lesser, Kanban it is even lesser. Okay, so RUP is more prescriptive and Kanban is towards, it is more adaptive. So you should not get driven by the situation that you adapt Kanban because it is too much flexible. It's not like that. So you have to use a balanced approach when you are adopting Kanban. And additional things when Kanban can be applied. Kanban can be applied even when you have less people in small projects, like whereas Scrum expects 7 people and +2 or -2. Whereas Kanban, even there are less than 7 people, even 2, 3 people, 4 people are there, you can adopt Kanban. So it does not specify how many number of people have to be there in the team. Whereas Scrum, the minimum size of the team members is 7, either +2 or -2 can be based on the project characteristics. And as I discussed, Scrum, because Kanban is more suitable in the support environment where you have more number of tickets and also less people are involved. So you don't have to always think of identifying some people and like Scrum. So whoever is there who are working on support issues, they can focus on the optimum workflow by limiting their work in progress. The key thing in Kanban is you are limiting work in progress items. So that is very, very important. So how do you manage your work in progress? How many items you limit and pull the items as and when you want? That decides your lead time of the issues that you address. Coming to the Lean Agile. Lean Agile is again becoming more popular. Basically, it is taken from manufacturing principle. The Lean principles from manufacturing is applied in software. So if you look at the waterfall, everything is done in the end, and iterative is everything is delivered in different iteration. Whereas Scrum, the user stories are developed and delivered in sprints. Lean, the main advantage of Lean is it focuses on any kind of feature which are marketable, with minimum marketable feature which has got sense to the users and deploy as and when they are needed. So that way the focus on product management with software development is much higher. I'll be discussing that in the subsequent slides. So what are the Lean principles applied in software development? So these are 7 principles. Eliminate waste. How do you do that? You don't do any unnecessary code. Okay, remove the delay in software development, unclear requirements. So removing the bureaucracy, all that is reduced by applying Lean principles. Learning, how amplify learning is adopted. You simplify requirements gathering in the form of screens and use short iteration cycles and get the feedback rather than developing the heavy process documents. The third principle, decide as late as possible. That means you don't make the decision immediately. Sometimes you wait till facts, you get more facts and you take the decision based on the facts. There's something called responsible moment. You wait till the last responsible moment and you delay your decisions and deliver the functionalities based on the facts rather than doing everything in big bang approach. Delivering as fast as possible. How it is achieved in Agile Lean, how this Lean principle is applied in software is always we deliver in a shorter intervals and feedbacks received, and whatever feedback is given by the product owner is incorporated in the next iteration. That way the time to market is faster. Empowerment to the team. Here the command and control approach is reduced and the team is more of self-organizing, and you find the people and they decide what needs to be delivered and what needs to be best according to their capability, and they remove the impediments within the team, and the micromanaging of the team gets reduced. That way the project manager's job, the way in which the project manager works also will change in Agile. So building integrity, how do you build integrity? Because in Agile you ensure entire thing is automated, and automated building and integration happens. The tests are executed using a automated suite. And see the whole is optimizing the whole. You always think big, have a big picture in your mind, but always deliver something small, and if you want to fail fast, learn rapidly from your failures. So these are certain things. These are things that are applied from Lean principles, how these Lean principles are applied in software development. What is some basic thing why this Lean Agile is suitable is, this is very suitable for enterprise kind of situation. The enterprise agility becomes effective in Lean Agile, whereas Scrum is caught in the industry, but when it comes to the scaling to the enterprise level, when large number of teams are used there, and if it has to be driven from the enterprise, then Scrum has got certain challenges. So whereas Lean Agile is driven from the holistic point of view, rather than building everything from pieces, it is driven from the enterprise view. So that way the balance of optimizing the whole and team, respecting the team becomes, it provides a guidance for these two Lean principles. Let us quickly see what are the certain things that change in Lean Agile. In Lean Agile, for enterprise agility, it requires, example, your product enhancement. Product enhancements can come from different product lines, whereas in Scrum it's specifically suitable for that particular project and that particular release, whereas in enterprise level the product enhancement can come from any product line, and as and when there is a demand, that has to be taken care, and that has to be the development team, the Agile team has to be in sync with different product enhancements from different product lines. And Scrum, there's one person called product owner, whereas in reality you will not have one person, there will be different product managers who work for different products. So the entire product portfolio has to be managed, and all these product managers have to work together for the success of the product. Between different groups in the development organizations, because of enterprise agility, the Lean Agile provides effective means both within the organization and outside the organization. And the integration of development groups and QA groups to increase the effectiveness of software and quality of the software, so that your rework is reduced. So that becomes effective in Lean Agile. You can still use the Scrum or Agile principles, but at the same time use Lean to integrate development team and the QA team in an effective way. So in summary,